Hari Om, dear fellow member of Vasudev Kutum, dear fellow wave on the ocean of pure consciousness. Today we continue with recollections of early sadhana days, how I became a regular weekender at the Ganeshpuri Ashram. Last time I recalled how the same month that I visited the Ganeshpuri Ashram for the first time, May 1974, I was promoted and transferred to the Thane, the chemicals division of Glaxo Laboratories, based in Thane, in the countryside outside Thane town. And suddenly the ashram became very accessible, in the sense it was just now 1 hour's slow drive to the ashram from Thane, from the Glaxo compound in Thane. Whereas from my previous residence in Bombay, it had been a 2-hour bus ride or drive. I didn't realize the significance of this, as I recollected in my last discourse. I settled very happily into the new environment in the countryside in Thane. If you're a railway child, you've grown up in railway houses set in very separate compounds with large bungalows with large gardens and leafy lanes. And then I was transported at the age of 7 to England, where our house was 100 yards away from the largest park in London, Hyde Park. And that used to be my haunt. The time I was not in school, I would be walking through the beautiful Hyde Park of London. And after that, when I went again to England the second time, after St. Stephen's, for further studies, I found myself in Richmond, which is a outlying suburb of London, where again it's really a separate town, and next to a 2,000-acre royal park and a beautiful River Thames which winds its way through Richmond, and it had beautiful gardens and towpaths along the side of the Thames. It's a very natural environment. There's Richmond Hill, very natural, beautiful environment where we used to go for endless walks, weekends and so on. So I was used to that kind of atmosphere. Even when I came to Bombay, most of the time, weekends were spent on Governor's Beach. One of my friends had a pass to Raj Bhavan Beach in Bombay, which is the other end of the Queen's Necklace, the other side of Marine Drive, where Marine Drive ends in Nariman Point. Other end of Nariman Point is Raj Bhavan. And they have a beautiful secluded beach where almost nobody goes, because only for VIPs. And so I had a VIP pass to this beach. And not only that, when again a friend of mine whose parents had a beautiful house in mainland Bombay near Alibag. There was a beautiful, wealthy landowners had constructed, bought up coconut plantations in that area, and there they constructed 5-star weekending homes. So there was a beautiful weekending home in Thal, where we used to go and spend the entire weekend on these large empty beaches, sitting with the house nestled in a forested coconut plantation. It was spellbinding. It was very beautiful experience in the dwelling in the midst of nature. So coming to this beautiful experience living in Thane, in this again in a very natural environment, in the countryside, next to a lake and low-lying hills, wooded hills. and utter silence all over, unlike what you get in Bombay, which is known as the city that never sleeps. There's a constant roar of underlying roar of traffic, all night, all day. So when you come to this natural, quiet, silent environment, it's very beautiful. So I enjoyed that year, but I had reckoned without the fact that I had now been transferred to Thane. I had been to the ashram for the first time. I had received Shaktipat, and now I was duty bound to do seva, to attend satsangs. And this was, of course, as a newcomer, I didn't know all this. And because I had learned how to do sadhana by myself, in a sense when my father taught me the elements of Hatha Yoga when I was 14 years old, and I had been practicing every morning. So continuing that practice was not enough. As I found out a year later, I had been to the ashram on May 74. In June 75, after about a year in Thane, I got jaundice. I think I had not been boiling water or something in Bombay, you need to boil water. There was some problem like that. Anyway, I realized I had jaundice, and not only that, within me welled this revelation that you've got jaundice because you've not been going to you've received Shaktipat, you are not doing seva, you're not doing you're not attending satsangs. And so the first thing I did was, knowing where jaundice, I sat in my car in Thane, Galactic compound, and drove all the way to the ashram. One hour, reached there in the evening, and spent the night there. And the next morning, I got into the car and I drove straight to Breach Candy Hospital. I admitted myself in. Breach Candy Hospital is one of the best hospitals in Bombay, with a great reputation. So I admitted myself into Breach Candy Hospital and spent the next 2 weeks recovering from the enormous weakness that comes with jaundice. And it was a beautiful room actually. For 2 weeks I had a kind of holiday with the waves crashing against the rocks outside, which is the view from those rooms in Breach Candy Hospital. And my parents meanwhile had been transferred to, my father had been transferred to Delhi. He'd been promoted and transferred to Delhi as additional member of the railway board. So he was in Rail Bhavan at times. But various aunts and all came to see me, those who happened to be in Bombay. But 2 weeks later, I came out of the hospital, went straight back to Thane, and ever since then, I became an absolutely religious weekender at the Ganeshpuri Ashram. Now, weekending became, the next year that from July 1st, 1975 to July 1st, 1976, was the most beautiful year of my sadhana, which I remember the most beautiful because there was a great amount of variety. On the 1st of July 76, I took a 6-month break from Glaxo and moved into the ashram. But that's another matter, another story. But that 1 year where I became a weekender at the Ganeshpuri ashram, from the 1st of July, say, 75 to the 1st of July 76, was the most, what I remember, the most enjoyable year of sadhana that in all the years of sadhana that I've had. That was the most enjoyable one from a pure variety point of view. On Friday evening, I would, sitting in my office, I would leave the office. My car would be waiting outside. I would sit in the car. An hour later, I would be just in time for the evening arti. I would arrive on Friday evening at the Ganeshpuri ashram. Just as the gongs and the conch shells were blowing for the arti, I would sit in the arti, and on Monday morning after the Guru Gita, which happens between 5:30 and 7, having attended the Guru Gita, I would sit in my car again and drive back to the Glaxo compound in Thane, and just in time to go to my office at 9 o'clock. But it was really beautiful. I used to see a beautiful sunset on my way to the ashram on a Friday evening, and experience a marvelous sunrise on my way on Monday morning going back home. Now, the point about the ashram was it was a lake of energy, and the thing was, the best way to explain what happened to me when I used to go to the ashram, only 2 cartoon characters explain it. Remember Popeye and his spinach. The minute he had a can of spinach, Popeye changed extremely healthy, vibrant, energy-filled person. And another cartoon character was Asterix, and that magic potion that the druid used to make for him in ancient Roman times. If you remember, those of you who read the comic Asterix, it's a French comic, but it translated into, I think, 112 languages. But the magic potion that completely transformed the body and the mind, that is the experience I had every time. As soon as you, within, say, 10 minutes of entering an ashram, you have that experience of complete energy-filled exhilaration, joy, happiness, and strength, and tirelessness. Anyway, enough for today. Thank you for listening.